Maybe not. Yeah, here we go. Blast off. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Rippily Show. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Super excited to have you here with us for another episode today. I think we're on episode 5. We've got a whole month of episodes under our belts now, and we are continuing this week with our topic of design principles when it comes to building these virtual communities. And so last week, we kicked off our design principles series by talking about the user experience, what it feels like to enter a space, what makes people stay, what makes people leave. And today we're flipping it because now we're talking about something that, if I'm being honest, most people don't think about until it's too late. And that is the host and moderator experience, not just from the side of building, but for if you have other people coming into your space to moderate or lead an event. Because here's what happens. You design a beautiful space, right? Everything looks great. You've got people showing up, and then suddenly you're trying to manage the room, watch the chat, bring people up, fix something that broke, keep the energy going, and remember what you were even about to say, all at the same time. Anybody else can relate to that out here? And in that moment, it doesn't matter how nice your space looks. If it's stressful to run, if it is chaotic behind the scenes, if you're constantly reacting instead of leading, the experience starts to break down. Not just for you, but for everyone in the room. Because the truth is, your experience as the host is a big part of the experience. If you feel grounded, the room feels grounded. If you feel clear, the room feels clear. If you feel overwhelmed, everybody's going to start to feel it. So today we're diving into how to design your space in a way that actually supports you and your moderators. So you're not just surviving your events, you're actually enjoying them at the same time. Who would like to enjoy their events a little bit more? That's when the magic happens, everybody. So let's get into our episode today. Without further ado, one of our favorite people is here, everybody, and we always want to hear from our founder here at Rippily. Everybody, please welcome back to the show, Claudio Perrone.
Hello. Hi. Hey,
Hello.
Jessica. Yeah, everyone.
Is it a great day to launch Rippily yet?
We're close. We're really close. It might be tomorrow, right? So we're really close.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. I'm running a lot of tests this day. This morning, actually, I had a showstopper, so I had to fix. And hopefully, if there's no showstopper, tomorrow could be the day.
That's really exciting. Who is excited that tomorrow could be the day? Oh my goodness. This is thrilling because we've been I can't even say we've been waiting for this for a long time. It feels like a long time, but it really has not been very long. Can you remind everybody, for those that may be watching for the first time today, when did you first start building this platform?
So I wrote the first line of code on December 1st. So that makes it 5 months, 5.5 months, which is now it feels like a long time because I made so much like early progress. And in the last, especially 3 weeks, I would say, had to, redesign a lot of stuff to make sure that, when money is involved, you want to be spectacularly precise, I guess, right? And so to maintain like a smooth experience, especially on the transition, and have a lot of edge cases to be tested and so on, that took a long time, and it's still taking a long time.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, we obviously don't get to see from the developer side what is happening on your end, because a lot of us have been using the platform every day since we were first allowed to come on the platform. And so other than, little bugs that we report here and there, we don't really see what's happening on your side. What are those final things that you're finishing up as you get ready to launch?
I mean, there's imagine this, right? So most of you, all of you, actually, are in a beta version where everything is allowed, unlimited resources. Now we're moving into a paid system where some of these resources become limited. So, but you need to have like a smooth transition from I have everything to what do I freeze? How can I swap? And what happens when I go from one tier to the next one? One thing is to go, if you go to the upper tier, it's completely different when you lower your tier, right? What am I going to do with those resources and so on? And so anyways, there's a lot of systems and a lot of moving parts where you need to take in account and respect everyone. So I had to, I guess last week I talked about these access groups that I call bubbles. They're now bubbles, right? So they are basically redesigned to allow more flexibility for people to, to allow people in their communities to have restricted, limited, or protected access to part of their communities.
Right, right. I think it's going to make a lot of sense. I think at first, everything in the dashboard side, when we go to bring in and create a new wave, and then by extension, the ripples as part of those waves, it was a really simple setup. And then you think to yourself at first, okay, simple is really good, but then you realize it doesn't necessarily serve everybody in what they're
yeah.
going to do with the platform.
So what you want is something that is simple but not simplistic. And being simple is hard. It really is hard. Leonardo da Vinci used to say simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And so that's really the real work is actually, I mean, it's complexity all the time emerges, especially when you add features, you do a lot of stuff. But that's actually the real work, at least on my side, is to keep the complexity at bay, to keep it, behind the interface, and something that is intuitive, simple to use, requires a lot of really hard work and evaluating options, especially like this last few weeks. Like I've been doing the same thing 4 or 5 times, no kidding, right? Because you try certain options, they don't work right away. You try different options, and these, bear in mind, these are not just technical problems. They are actually product design choices, opinions on how you go in certain directions, and you choose not to go in other directions, and so on.
Right. Right. It definitely gives me a new appreciation, both when seeing what you are designing, but then even when I'm designing different ripples, especially as we started for the last three weeks, we've been doing variables in the Ripply dive, teaching variables. And it gives you, when you see how much goes into one little movement or one little feature, it really does give you a new appreciation for some of these things that seem so simple to us as we're using them, but there's 100 steps to make it simple for us to use it.
Yeah, and it's in a way like it's like playing chess, right? You don't know exactly, you need to be several moves ahead. At least that's the way I always felt, right? Several moves ahead, where at some point, people who are using the platform will discover those opportunities and options. So there is that kind of idea of being well ahead. But on the other hand, is like also being a piano not player, but a piano maker, right? Where you don't know the kind of art that people will create on top of it. So that's what I find really exciting, right? Is often I know why I build things. What I'm not 100% sure is how people are going to use them. And I'm always curious about that.
It's very exciting, even with what I've been teaching in the Ripley Dive. I'll teach something a certain way, and we'll learn a certain, feature of Ripley, and then people will show me their rooms after, and I'm always just blown away by the design choices, by the things that they choose to make a part of their experience. And so it's fun for me to get to see that as well, to get to see those things come to life. I want to move into our topic today, which is continuing our series on design principles. And today we're talking about the host and moderator experience. I want to bring a friend of ours up to the stage here with us today to chime in on this conversation as well. Peggy McCartha is here today, everybody.
Hey, Peggy.
Welcome back, Peggy.
Always excited to be here. Always. And this is a topic that I am very close to. So I love this.
I love it. I love it. Any initial thoughts about this topic, Claudio? Like, because we've heard from you about how you put in a lot from the developer standpoint for I mean, technically those of us that are builders are also your users. So it's kind of an interesting thing to think about in that way. Is there anything that you feel like is super important or has been important for you as you built this platform for those of us that are building for other people?
There are maybe different ways to tackle this, right? But I'll give you my take on this, because I feel that, for example, Jessica, Peggy, a lot of the people in this room today, actually, they've been hosting. They know this role probably better than I do. It's not that I haven't been a host at all, right? So I lived that experience, and it's also one of the reasons why I started building Rippily. But in a way, I could talk about a lot of the features that Rippily has created to facilitate the work. But I would start with something different, which is this kind of idea that hosting to me is like, it's like a craft, right? It's like, I don't know, cooking or jazz. It can be learned, but definitely has to be practiced. And once we accept that, the conversation about, how would I design for hosts gets sharper, because I stopped thinking what button should I add or what feature should I add, and start asking what job is the host actually doing, and where does Rippily maybe creates friction, or where it could help. That to me is kind of the, giving a little bit of, I don't know, shout out, I guess, to all the people who are trying to host their communities. Because if you think about even what you're doing right now, Jessica, right? You're running a great live session, and it's definitely much harder than it looks. I mean, you need to hold the structure in your head. Well, you need to stay present, engage with people. You need to decide, while people are talking, second by second, where to speak, where to hold back, how to read the room. There's a lot of things like that it doesn't come from the platform, right?
Yeah.
It comes from experience, right? And how you do things. And so, like, if I want to be honest, there are things that the platform can do, but it's probably 20% of the entire job, right? And I'm sure you both have like great suggestions or great points, I guess, to share about what it takes to be a great host, I think. But that's actually my initial thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. Peggy, I know you're chomping at the bit. Let's hear it. You have so much to say about this.
I think that as a host, I'm always thinking about the user experience. When you come to my event, how easy is it for you to understand what to do? How smooth is the experience? You know, how involved and engaged can you get? And as a host, I'm always thinking about the user. I'm always thinking about, you know, all of that, like what are they going to experience? But what I see in Claudio is he is doing the same thing. He's like, what are the hosts going to experience? What are the people going to experience? So as he's been building Rippily, it's very apparent that he has the user experience in mind. You know, he has in mind what it's going to take for the creator to create this room, what it's going to take for the moderator to moderate this event, how it's going to, you know, the users themselves, the guests that we bring in, maybe they don't have a Rippily account, maybe they're just here for our event. How easy is that going to be? Are they going to leave like, wow, I really want to get involved with what Peggy's doing, and also what's this platform? I need this. You know, that's and in every single thing that he does, you can see it, you can feel it, and I think that's what makes a lot of difference. Is it makes it easier for the host to think about the user experience when the platform itself has all of those things in mind, and it's not an extra. It's not we don't have to find a workaround. Okay, how are we going to work around this? How are we going to make this easier? What can we do because it can't do this? Instead, it's like, oh, well, clearly, you know, this is how we can, you know, take care of this. And also as a host, we're always thinking, you know, there's going to be that one person that might come in and start being disruptive. How can we quiet them down without ruining the whole event? And, you know, just all the different aspects all built in just smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of different things built in. As Artemis out in the audience today was saying, the tools are there and they work. They work, which is good. And I just really appreciate how much is there, because I build for myself and the people that attend, but I'm also building for people within my network who are hosting events within my community. And so I know that a lot of them aren't necessarily like, let me get in there and build something myself, which is why I'm doing that part of the work. So I still have to make it simple for them to come in and understand how to do something easily without necessarily feeling like they need to learn the entire system. That's my job. And so I have a room that I wanted to show you guys today as we're talking about this topic. And I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment here and be able to show you what is happening with this space. Let me go here.
And I think, Jessica, you make an important point here, right? Because Rippily has got a lot of tools, like it's got a timer, poll, scene switches, you know, buttons, and the interface is dense. I mean, you could have a lot of tools. They all work, right? But when you're designing for someone who is maybe not you and is hosting events, then you want a way to make it easy for them.
Right. So I'm sharing the screen, and this room that we have here is my artist studio inside of my community, and my good friend Brittany hosts Craft Circle as well as Mindful Doodling every other week, typically on a Thursday. And I had implemented different scenes for her in the room. And so when we go into the room for us, we can see that there's a ton of features here that we can use as the creator of the room. But I didn't want her to have to try to figure out, what do all these things mean? So I literally made her buttons in the room. And the amazing thing about these buttons is they're only able to be seen by the moderator. Claudio, do you want to tell people about those settings that they can make different elements in the room visual to different people?
Exactly. So this is exactly, when I was talking about playing chess and being a few moves ahead. So this is a deliberate feature where basically you can create a button really, really easy that has some actions, some behavior. So it could be change a scene, a snapshot, which is like to move basically where people stand all around. Um, Play celebration. We have a lot of behaviors effectively for those buttons. But the cool thing is that each button can be visible to either everyone, that would be the default, but you can select to actually make it visible only to certain roles. And so this idea of making the button visible to someone who has a role as moderator, with actions that are then visible to everyone else, makes it very easy for moderators to not have to go into different aspects of the interface, which are still there. And basically, you can just click that button to execute those predefined actions as you just did, right? And this is one of the ways where, you are I'm trying from the platform point of view to minimize the time it takes for a moderator to execute certain actions while everything else is going on, right? You have so many things to take care of. The last thing you want to do is to go through the interface to do certain actions that maybe are predefined. You may basically set up in advance.
And we should really mention that you have given us so many shortcuts. Not only can you make a button like Jessica did, but you've also given us shortcut commands.
Yes.
And we won't spend, the whole day talking about that, but I just wanted, to let the people know that as that's one of the things when I say thinking of the user experience for the host, having a shortcut, having one button you can program to push and, all the things happen instead of going, okay, where is that? So it's really amazing.
This is
really
a really
thoughtful.
good point. This is a really good point, Peggy, right? So, Jessica, maybe you can show it as well. Like when you type colon and you're a moderator, you are activating a panel. It's called a command panel that is dedicated to execute shortcuts, right? So you could do, I don't know, if you have scenes, you could do S and then N to say move to the next scene, or you can type the name and so on. But the great thing about it, and it's it's an explorable panel. So if you're a moderator or an editor, you can just type colon and that panel will come up. And to be honest, this comes from my early days as a developer with certain development tools, where, there is this kind of class of people like me who, if we can reduce the use of a mouse, the best, because we go faster. But having said that, it turns out that this command has a lot of uses, right? One is for moderators. It's also like a great, not affordance, but a great way, I guess, for anyone to, to be accessible.
Mhm.
But the panel itself has got commands that you can basically put on a Stream Deck, right? So for people who maybe have an Elgato Stream Deck, or there's a billion Chinese clones, I learned, and basically you could have these commands attached to buttons. There's a physical board that I have in front of me right now, in front of my keyboard, where I have color buttons. Where I click, they execute a moderator command. And that's super useful because now you have basically a command board for any room that you want to moderate.
It's so fun with that because I have been sitting over here in jealousy that everyone has a Stream Deck except me. But then Our good friend Artemis, that's in the audience today, told me that there are free apps available that do it as well. As Elgato has their own. You can get a shortened, like a smaller version of it. And I had no idea this whole time. So now guess who has one on their phone? Me.
Oh.
And so it's very exciting. I'm not telling you it's programmed yet, but it is exciting to have that available. So definitely check that out as well. All right. I want to head over and see our beautiful studio audience today. Do we want to see our amazing studio audience today? Let's go see what they're like, what's happening in the audience today. Hello,
Yay.
everybody.
Yay. We have the best audience.
We really do. And I'm very excited. I'm going to launch our poll for today. Peggy, would you like to read us our poll question?
Yes. When you're hosting or moderating, what's the most stressful part? Is it managing people, mics turning off and on, all of that? I would say yes. Keeping the flow of the event going, handling tech issues in the moment, watching chat while speaking. Everyone knows that Peggy just doesn't do that. Doesn't even stress me out. I'm like, if you put it in the chat, I didn't see it. I'm trying to do everything all at once or something else.
Let us know. Let us know. Anybody in the audience have anything that they want to chime in about this question today while we're waiting for our poll responses? Feel free to unmute if you would like. And we so far trying to do everything at once is winning by a landslide.
I'm going to cast my vote because it's the dang mics that just stress me out. I'm like, oh my God, mute yourself. Oh my God, unmute yourself.
Love it. I love it. All right. We've got about 35 seconds left for everybody to participate in our poll in the audience today. So definitely continue that while we're chatting. While we're waiting for the poll, I want to introduce to you guys an amazing person that is here today as our special guest. When we get into our ocean report segment today, she is the ocean, you guys. She's the whole ocean, and we're so excited that she's here. She has a space on Ripley that she calls the Pleasure Palace, everybody. And it's not what you might think. So we're going to hear from her coming up next. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Sang D.
Woo! Sang in the house.
Don't worry, Peggy. I'm trying to find the unmute button.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited. I've been in the audience the whole time, since we've launched, I think, except for maybe one day, but like, it's just been so much fun to be here.
It's so fun to have you here. We've been hanging out a lot since Ripley got started. What do you think about the topic that we've been talking about so far? Because I know up until this point, you've really been mostly on like kind of the user side, but you brought your book club over here onto Ripley. How has the hosting experience been for you here on Ripley?
Well, I'm going to say I just learned a couple weeks ago how to switch scenes. So I was stoked. Okay. Like, and when I say stoked, it was literally, Jessica was laughing because she said, oh, you look like a kid in the candy store right now because you are so excited. Probably a simple thing, but yes, I have only been on Ripley and other places just hanging out with the community and stuff. I've not really hosted too much on here. And so having hosted that, I will say tech things drive me nuts, right? The setup, the managing all the things, those are things that are just not in my pleasure wheelhouse at all. So it was really kind of hard for me to pick which one, because one, I don't want to do everything at once. I also don't care about unmuting and muting and whatever. Like, it's literally like, I feel like just whatever that is. But I do enjoy the ease that Claudio has created on here. even, I can go in and do a little few tweaky things, and I have something done in like 5 minutes, which would have taken me 17,200 hours before. And so I'm grateful for that. I am excited to learn. I just haven't put forth the effort to learn yet, because I do enjoy watching everybody come up with these new ideas and go, yeah, I like that. No, don't want that for myself. Just kind of enjoying it and learning what it's capable of doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Peggy, you want to tell us what our poll results are real quick?
Trying to do everything all at once. That is the winner. Or like by 80, by what did it say? 62%? 62%?
Yeah.
So over half of the audience is like, yeah, I don't like doing.
And I ended up changing mine to the whole tech situation. If tech things go wonky in the middle of something, I will literally say, F this, I'm moving on. Like, somebody else come deal with some techie thing. And if I look like
it's nice of you all to come, I'm out now.
Like through it. And I don't, and the other thing that drives me bananas is when somebody's trying to tell me how to fix it in the middle of it. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't have the capacity for that. Because
it takes you out. It takes you, because Claudia was right that when you're hosting, there's so much that you have to sort of pay attention to. You really have to master the art of multitasking, even though I have been quoted, you guys, as saying multitasking is a lie, because you can't give 100% of yourself to any more than one thing at a time, right? But you do have to learn how to kind of bounce all over the place. You've got to look at the chat. You've got to look at who's there. You've got to look at what your schedule is. What are you supposed to be saying? What are the tools that you're using in the room? And so when a tech problem comes into play, which is why it's so important to have a stable platform like Rippily, when a tech problem comes in, it can completely take you out of your mind of what you're even supposed to be focusing on. It's not good.
Can I also add something different to this, right? I find it interesting as an answer, which by the way is the same one I wrote. But then I thought, there's two things. One is it may be a sign that we talk too much. I think there is definitely one thing that hosts have to learn, a lot of hosts have to learn, including myself, is that we got to let other people talk. It reminds me of, I can't remember, there was a review, they were talking about acting, when especially like really good actors make other people shine. It's not just their lines, it's how they act, and they, it's this kind of, it's almost like selfless way to bring the conversation on. And so they manage to bring the best out of their partners. I think, if there is one thing I would take away from what I will ever say about hosts, is this one: learn to let others talk, because then you also have more time to deal with all the other stuff that comes around, right? But if you're taking over, and in addition to that, you have everything else, then it becomes really, really hard.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. Saying, I know that you attend Soul Saturday Morning Coffee a lot in my virtual community, and I'm so thankful for that, because you always have such amazing things to share. But we talk about that in coffee a lot also. It's like kind of reading the room and giving, like, realizing when maybe we've said too much and maybe we should give room for other people to speak. Do you have anything you'd like to share about that?
Everybody has their most unique spaces. I feel like I've been to a lot of spaces. I've been to Claudio. Clearly, I've been in Claudio's space. Jessica has several different spaces. Been to Peggy's spaces before. I've visited a lot of people in the audience's spaces before. Coach Jeter's space, Artemis's space, Shadows. I've visited everyone's space, and everyone has a unique specialty of their own. And even in the communities that I'm in, everybody has their own cadence, their own guidelines, their own community. Some places you can go and we're talking about, safe and sacred things that are just in that space. The next one, we're going to a meeting and we're talking about law school or something. I don't know, right? Like, it's all very, it's the community. That's what initially got me here. It wasn't the platforms that we were on before or even now. I mean, I love the platform, don't get me wrong, but it was the people for me who got me here. And clearly, Claudio, I will talk about the platform, but the platform made it possible for the people that I get to meet. I get to meet them in all their different spaces. I get to see a sense of their personality. It's more than just seeing what's on the back of their wall. And I go, oh, is that their dog in that picture back there?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, now I can go to their thing and I go, oh, you must like sparkles. Oh, you must like a palace. Like, yes, I do. I love the palace. So I think getting to be able to see everybody's personality as you go through each room, but also again, you're having in-depth conversations, you're having fun conversations, you're just hanging out sometimes and just co-working, which is also great. So there's so many different places to go in the Ripple.
It is
Sam,
very true.
can I just add to what you just said? To me, Rippily as a platform, I try to reduce any form of friction, okay? Any form of friction. But in all honesty, Rippily itself, is the floor, okay? You are the ceiling, or you can get the ceiling, right? All I can do is to raise the floor for everyone, but the ceiling, it's something that needs you, basically. So that's the way I would look at it, right? It's just, I try to do my best so that you don't have impediments, so that you don't have technical issues, or at least are minimized. We are on the internet with billion different devices, and anything can happen. But at the same time, we need to be aware of what actually makes Rippily and why Rippily is a community platform and not a, meeting platform like, one of the grid ones, right? Because we understand this.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I want to add to that, Claudio, too, is I'm going to make everybody cringe right now, right? So most of my things that I attend and stuff are still on Zoom. We can all cringe now, right?
Should we stop the show now? That's
I
it.
know, right? Like,
wait, the kick out feature.
Oops, what happened? She just got muted up. It must be a technical.
Yeah.
See what happened? Muted in here. Well, it's because I've been over there, and most of the community, I've just not introduced them to the space over here yet, and just kind of building. As I've like my book club, I did bring them from. We actually started on a different platform and came over to this one, and so they were familiar with it, sort of. I will say that when I did this scene switch the other day, they were quite impressed. Okay.
As they should be.
Right? Because I can't get the fire to flicker and stuff like everyone else, but I can sure set a scene different. Okay? But I love that it's that sense of community here, whereas we're just on Hollywood Squares and Zoom, and you didn't know who to talk to and didn't know this and didn't know that. And so the community, it's the people, for me, who makes Rippily what it is. The people get to, you get so much understanding and personality and just a hold of what everybody teaches, and they just love it, and they love it here. We love it here. I love it here. So I do enjoy it thoroughly.
One of the things that I always teach is that your branding pictures, your branding is more than your logo. Your branding is more than your colors. It's more than your slogan. And, your logo, your images are usually the thing that people see first. It's their first impression, and they're going to get an idea of who you are, and they need to do that in just the first few seconds. Well, what Rippily has given us is that on, times 1,000, because when you walk into someone's room, you feel exactly like, you know their personality. You're like, oh, this is my people, or, oh, I'm going to probably not come back after this meeting. Like, you get that right away. You know what I mean? You feel it right away. You're like, oh, and it's different than popping into a square button that, or a square thing, and you don't really know anybody's personality or what their values are or what they represent or what makes them laugh. And that's something that happens. And you two were laughing. I don't know what I said. So I'm sure with these two in the room, I'm sure I said something.
For sure, Peggy. Now I understand why you haven't been around my rooms lately.
Well, I'm gonna say I was laughing for myself because I was.
Peggy ever visited you guys and she hasn't come back, now you know.
Now you know why. It's like, okay, you guys come over to my house. You just can't eat at everyone's house. You just can't eat at everyone's house.
Sorry. So funny.
The things you learn at the show.
Right. I wanted to ask, before I ask you a question about pleasure and what that means to you and how that ties into Rippily. But I want you guys to remember really quick that we have an amazing event that happens every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, where we get to dive into building things together here on Rippily and discovering all that's possible. Check it out. All right. So saying pleasure, what does it mean and how does that tie into Rippily?
So it's a pleasure to be here. So the fun part is, I've been around for a little while, clearly. I'm not as old as Jamie Rich, if everybody knows who Jamie is. And you see all the crowns and the hearts, it's all the things. Is the word pleasure for me is like what brings me joy. Like if you just substitute whatever pleasurable word that you want for yourself, right? What is that? For me, it was pleasure. Pleasure, has many connotations. Most people bluntly think it's about sex, right? Mm-hmm. Can be, could be, so is joy. Just want to say that, right? So, I take words and I help people have conversations, one that are non-threatening, but also finding words that make you stand out, right? So pleasure, everyone's like, what? The pleasure palace? What's that? Trust me, I've heard everything you're probably thinking that it is, right? And yes, there is a bedroom in there, but it is still not what you think it is. So that's even more fun, right? Because you get to, words are one of those things that you get to choose how you use them. And sometimes there's so many words that we don't even use, right? I mean, right now I'm reading a book and we're talking about shame. And shame is not even in a daily conversation that I have. But I will say it's my pleasure. I don't know if anybody goes to Chick-fil-A, if they're anti-Chick-fil-A'ers, whatever, I don't care. Chick-fil-A, they say my pleasure. You go into a service industry, my pleasure. It is absolutely a pleasure to be in this space. I thoroughly enjoy Rippily. I enjoy being here. It's the words that we get to use that change a day. Like if I go into a grocery store and someone's, oh, I'm having a pleasurable day, they will look at me and go, what? What does that mean? Right? And it's a conversation starter. You shift one word out of the ordinary conversations that you have, and you're switching a whole dynamic. You're changing the energy in an instant, right? I mean, when I go to the store, I have a joke sometimes. Did you find everything you needed? No, I kind of lost my mind. I think maybe on aisle 6, and they're like, what? Like they're thrown off, but you have now become memorable at some point. I want you to talk about me at dinner, basically, and I'm not even at dinner with you. And so those are the types of things that happen in the pleasure palace. It's about conversations. It's about word usage. It's more, how to have those hard conversations when someone's done you wrong or you've wronged someone or, with the state of this is whatever's going on in the world today. I mean, we all want to have more lovely conversations. And so the pleasure palace is where it happens.
And I'm very excited that you have included an amazing gift inside of our swag bag for our studio audience today. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so we did it. I did it. I'm gonna get my words together. I'm pulling a I don't even know yet, but it's called the mending conversation, and it kind of can be used a few different ways, right? Where you're having a conversation. It could be about something that maybe somebody did something to you or something happened and you don't quite know how to have that conversation. There's a way to, again, non-threatening, again, and I say that because a lot of times we go to have conversations and it's very emotionally charged. And to go in and use that as a guideline, it's not like you got to do it verbatim. It does help that way, but you kind of add your own spin to it, kind of like everybody has their own ripple. You do your own thing, add your own spin to it, do your best to stick to the guidelines because it kind of helps keep the parameters and boundaries in place. But being able to go and have a conversation with someone and have them sit down, and also it talks about if they say no, right? And being able to work through a conflict or work through an emotional turmoil that you're having, or maybe someone else is having, or maybe you get to share it with someone who you know would benefit from that. So it really is I will say when my daughter used it for the first time, I was excited. Right. My daughter's 25. So as a 25-year-old girl who's using my things, I get excited, even though she has a daughter. Right. But it works. And and those are the types of things that when people come into the Pleasure Palace, they learn, how to have those types of conversations, how to maybe work through their own emotions as they get ready to have those conversations. Because I had a lot of anxiety coming on here today. Imagine that. I did.
We had a good chat. We had a good chat.
I had to have a sit down this morning to talk about it. But I think being able, but again, that's also being in a community where people know you and they know what you need to kind of get through that hump. And I think as people continue to have more of those kinds of conversations that are definitely that's in the swag bag is a stepping stone, right? It's a start to having more conversations. And I just challenge everybody in the audience and who's ever in the gallery to take that and use it. And I want to know when you use it and how it goes, right? I'm always looking for ways to also improve it. So, what does that look like? And yeah, I just hope everyone enjoys it as much as I do.
I'm excited for everybody to get it. And the reason why, and one of the reasons I was so excited to have you on this particular episode is because being able to have better conversations and choose our words more mindfully is a huge part of being a better host. And so I just think that your little gift is going to be amazing for everybody in the audience who's looking to be a better host. And so thank you for your generosity on that. We are at the end of the show, everybody, and I want to get some final words from everybody that is here. Peggy, would you like to kick us off? What are your final thoughts on designing for the Host Moderator Experience?
For the Host Moderator Experience, have fun. That's always going to be my advice. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I have hosted some events that, in my opinion, were a flop, and everybody walked away loving it, saying, I can't wait to do it again. So really, with the right attitude and the right people, just don't expect perfection. Find the beauty in the flaws.
Thanks, Peggy. Claudio.
Yeah, I guess I mentioned that before, right? Respect, give space to others. Now, I don't want to be misinterpreted as being sort of chill. You need to have some form of, you know what I mean? You could do nothing and take that advice and actually say, okay, that's it. I actually came across a book called The Art of Gathering. And there is this concept called generous authority, I think. Yeah, generous authority. And the idea there is that you still need to have that kind of confident hand, but be selfless, right? So you can guide basically what you're doing right now, Jessica, right? You're not just, whatever. You have clearly a plan, exactly how the flow should be, you know the timings, you know all those kind of things. You're not just letting people go for a tangent, because the problem is, again, you know, if you don't use that form of authority, someone else will pick it up, right, and then runs the show. Not this show, but I guess when you are hosting, right, they will take it over, and then it becomes very difficult to manage the event.
Right.
So like if you have that kind of generous authority, it means basically confident hands, but respect and be selfless and let others, you know, talk.
Mm.
You know,
Generous
you do too little
authority.
or too much, it's not good in either way. The two extremes are not good. You need to be
And
somewhat
your
moderate.
time's up. No, I'm just kidding. Generous authority. I like that though. I haven't heard or used that phrase. Generous authority. I'm gonna sit on that one for a minute. Thank you for those thoughts. Sang, final thoughts from you today.
I love that too. Generous authority. We're gonna have to sit with that, Claudia. We'll have to have a after class session. That was really good. I just invite everyone to embrace the community that you're in, right? You're all here for a very special reason, and it's a fun place to be. And just engage in those conversations, and don't try to do everything at once. I know we all try to do everything at once in here and in life. So stop what you're doing, do that infamous pause, and just pay attention. Just sit with the people that you're with and practice that I don't have to multitask while I'm doing something too. I think that's going to be huge. And then I'm just going to have a shameless plug here, because I'm also on the Breakthrough Show Network this Friday at 1 p.m. Central. And I'm going to be talking about some things that are just going to be fun about storytelling and myself. If you want to know more about the Pleasure Palace, there's definitely going to talk about that. But I want to thank each and every one of you for always allowing me to be here. Claudio, for sure, for inviting me up here. Jessica, for having me up here, for inviting me here. Peggy, who's always keeping us on our toes and keeps me in line. Right. And just loving all of you in the audience too. And everybody in the gallery. Like, I just love it here. I really do.
Love it. Thank you, Sang. And thank you everybody for being here today. I would leave you with this, that as far as our topic is concerned today, that there is a lot that goes into being an incredible host or moderator for an event. And I think for those of us that are building those spaces for people, it is really important for us to think about how can we simplify this process for our hosts and moderators so that they can have a more effortless experience, and then they can focus on some of these other things that are that 80% that Claudio was talking about, you know, focusing, hey, what's going on, not having to worry about the tech or where's the button or how are things laid out. They can just focus on the human side of hosting in the space. So thank you everybody for being here today. What we talked about, this is the difference between hosting something that drains you and hosting something that fuels you. Because when your space is designed to support you, you're not scrambling, you're not reacting, you're not trying to hold everything together in the moment. You're leading, you're present, you're connected, you're actually able to enjoy the spirit experience you created. And I just want to say this for everybody. I know that it feels like sometimes we have to, as the host, we have to be the one working hard and juggling all the things, but I give you permission today that you might not know you needed to enjoy the experiences that you get to enjoy it too. You get to be in it and have some fun. And so everything is going to shift for you when you shift into that space. If you are ready to take what we've been talking about and start building into your space, join us this Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time for the Rippily Dive. We finished up our 3-part series on variables, and now we'll be diving into some other fun things. So definitely come and enjoy some time together. And next week, we are continuing this series by going even deeper into design principles. We have an incredible guest for you next week. Surprise, surprise. And we're going to be talking about safety, privacy, and boundaries inside virtual spaces. Because once your space works for the user and works for you, the next question becomes, does it feel safe to fully show up there? So be sure that you tune back in for that. Until then, keep building smarter, keep creating with intention, and keep designing experiences that support not just the people in the room, but the person leading it too. And as always, we'll see you next week for another episode of The Rippily Show. See you next time, everybody. Bye.
Nice show. Awesome.